Hi everyone, welcome to Meet SRU Faculty. I'm your host, Alyssa Cirincione. Today our guest has had many accomplishments throughout his professional career, starting from being the interim dean for the College of Education and Educational Technology at Indiana University of Pennsylvania, to being the College of Education dean here at Slippery Rock University. Please welcome Dr. Keith Dils. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Alyssa.
Definitely, pleasure to have you. So tell me about your roles and duties as the Dean of Education.
Well, the Dean of the Education is the head of the college, and we have 5 departments. So there are 5 chairs of those departments, and we meet on a regular basis. So at the university, it's something called shared governance. Mm-hmm. So the dean should help to provide the vision, but the vision has to be established both by the dean and his or her experiences and what we think is going to happen in the future and what the current trends are, taking a look at the data, that type of thing, but also from the faculty who are the expertise, and the heart of the college is the faculty. So as a dean, it's leadership by being out in front, so to speak, but also being in tune to the ideas and the vision and things that percolate up from the staff. So I have a staff of roughly 4 in the dean's office. So in the College of Education, as you can imagine, we do certification, and it's tied to the state. So when the state in the vehicle of the Pennsylvania Department of Education say something needs to get done, we're an arm of that state and we have to make sure it gets done. So there are exams that we have to make sure our students take. Mm-hmm. There are clearances that we have to make sure our students have. There are other criteria that they need to meet, and we have to track all these things. So as a dean, I run that staff and make sure that things are getting done and that the trains are showing up on time, arriving on time, and leaving on time.
All right, very cool. It sounds like a lot of responsibility, but I'm sure it's fun.
It is. I enjoy it. You know, you're working with people, you're working with dynamic people, you're working with people with ideas. You're in a situation of higher education where you have students who are young and enthusiastic and looking forward to learning. And so, you know, it is a lot of fun. You're dealing with ideas, you're dealing with people, you're dealing with trying to put together something that will look good and be good for students, and that's exciting. You're building things, and it's nice to look back and say, wow, through a collaboration and through efforts of people that you work with, you have something to be proud of. Mm-hmm. And you know, we're producing teachers who touch many different lives, so it is gratifying and it is fun. Yeah,
definitely. So not only do you help students here on campus, but you also help students around the community at Slippery Rock High School with tutoring programs. Tell us about that.
That's right. So our students are learning to teach, and so you don't want to throw them in front of 30 students and then have them teach, you know, period after period after period where they've got classroom management issues, you know, getting the content together, putting together pedagogy or teaching methods that work, juggling all these different things. That's a challenge. So what you want to do is scaffold things. So just like somebody going to paint the side of a building, you build up things to support that effort. And that's what we try to do with the tutoring, is support their learning of what it means to teach. Mm-hmm. You know, gauging what does a student already know and how can I build on that? Mm-hmm. And ultimately that's what teaching is, isn't it? When you learn something new, you are building on what you already know. Right. You're associating. You know, we've heard of the phrase, the stream of consciousness. If I said to you right now, stop thinking, you couldn't do it. Mm-hmm. One thought leads into another. There's that stream. And good teachers realize, well, this person that I'm teaching has a stream of ideas and they have current understandings. So if I'm teaching them how to read, or if I'm teaching them algebra, or if I'm teaching them to make sense of a great literary work, I have to understand where they're coming from, mm-hmm. and then build my new ideas onto theirs. And so in a tutoring situation, we can do that. We can come in and supervise and watch one of our students with another student and have them help that student, but also shrink the task so that they're learning how to teach, so that when they get in front of 25 or 30 students, they've got that part down, and then they start to work on their classroom management techniques and how you do this with all these different brains and all these different streams of consciousness going. And so we're finding lots of success with that.
Yeah, definitely. So it's kind of, you know, like a little bit of practice before they actually go into student teaching and actually out in the field.
That's right. So it's practice for us, and then the schools are just thrilled because they know, oh, well, Johnny just needs somebody that he looks up to, wants to impress, a Slippery Rock University student, right? And they know in what areas he's weak. There are new tools out in the schools that where they can use technology. They're called classroom diagnostic tools, where they can give tests to students and start to pinpoint where they're weak. And so they know they need more, right? Not the same as every other student, but they need more, and they need more of this. So when our students come in and they're learning how to teach and practicing, they're telling us in what ways we can help those students. And you do that strategically throughout a school, and you can start to see their test scores throughout the school raise. And you can take some schools that we work with in other areas, not here, where maybe there's not an achievement-oriented culture, and you do this with the right pockets of students, and all of a sudden you see the culture of the school change. And so our collaborating schools really look forward to that, having our really good teacher candidates tutoring in strategic ways that helps those kids, but also the culture of the entire school.
Yeah, definitely. So what other schools have you worked with, or do you work with?
Well, we have professional development schools with Pittsburgh School District, with Sharon School District, with Pine Richland School District, with Butler School District, and others. And so those are the school districts where we really can partner. But we're looking at other school districts where we could move in and do that. And that's what I'm saying. Look, if we're associated with you, a school district, and they're associated with us, we want this to be a mutually beneficial relationship. So we want to be really tightly allied with the schools that we do work with, and that's a part of my agenda to expand that.
Yeah, definitely. That's awesome. So there are so many great opportunities for students here at Slippery Rock, especially education students with the Student Teaching Abroad program. Tell us about this.
Well, we have many opportunities, two of which we've been doing on a regular basis. They've gone to Mexico City and to Ireland. And so student teachers can come here and student teach for 12 weeks. And then for 4 weeks, they can go and extend that experience to schools in those areas. And what's tremendous is we send faculty advisors with the students. So they have a mentor there on the plane with them, taking them on excursions during the long weekends that they have, and going and supervising them out in the schools, knowing what the schools are like, knowing what their strengths are, and to prepare our kids so whatever the curriculum is, they're ready to go. So it's really great that we have faculty that are so excellent at preparing our students and being there with the students. Beyond student teaching, we also have excursions during spring break where we go to places like London and some other areas. So we have these opportunities, and it's great because, well, you know, let's be frank, it gives them the travel bug, right? They have the success, they go out and experience different cultures, and they get that rush of, you know, being an American in a city where people are just curious, and so that's neat. But beyond that, they're getting exposed to diverse students from diversity. And when our students go to get jobs, principals, superintendents, parents, so on, they want to know, what's your experience with diversity? And this is something that they really can speak to during an interview. And then when they go and teach, they can pull from these tremendous experiences that they have.
Yeah, definitely. All right, when we come back, I'll be talking with Dr. Dils about the increase in demand for cyberschooling.
Hi, I'm Albertosaurus. I'm 75 million years old.
I am Mike Madden.
Katrina Dimitrova.
My name's Steve Larson.
I'm Officer Robert Davis with the SRU Police Department.
Professional Studies.
Chairman of the Computer Science Department.
A student worker in the Computer Science Department, and you're watching WSRU TV.
SRU TV. WSRU TV.
Watching WSRU TV.
You're watching WSRU TV.
Welcome back to Meet SRU Faculty. I'm your host, Alyssa Cirincione, and I'm sitting here with Slippery Rock University's Dean of Education, Dr. Keith Dils. All right, so there's been a huge concern with teaching jobs and the economy, but there has been an increase in demand for teachers in cyber schools. Why do you think that is?
Well, I think that the charter school movement has used the marketplace to their advantage. And one of the things that they've built is cyber schools, and people have gone there, students have gone there. I think because of homeschooling, the cyber school approach is valuable and attractive to those that homeschool. I also think you're seeing in schools, especially high schools, this need to have internships. So the schools at the high school level are getting the the reading, writing, and arithmetic, but also application. So to get them out there to apply their knowledge in internships, to free up their day, they use cyber schools. So I know our local school districts in our area will have morning face-to-face teaching and then cyber school classes in the afternoon where the students can do that in the evening or on the weekends whenever it fits their schedule around the internship that they do in the afternoon. So those are the two main driving forces behind that, which is students and parents want it in certain times. Internships are needed and desirable to get our students ready and prepared and trained for the workforce. And cyber schooling, I think, in a blended format, which is face-to-face with a little bit of cyber schooling, is what's going on now, and it's the future, clearly.
Yeah, definitely. So with the different, technology out there, how are you incorporating that into the cyber schools?
Well, we're having conversations with the faculty right now to decide exactly how we can make sure each student that comes through Slippery Rock University teacher education programs is exposed to the latest technologies and the latest pedagogies, how to teach well. I can tell you that we do have some field experiences in local cyber schools where our students go and they practice these skills. Well, they're introduced to the skills in the seminar here at the university and they go out to the field. And it's just one of their 5 field experiences that they have. So it's a taste of this. But there was a story recently done on a student that went there, and there's a picture of him standing next to the whiteboard. And a whiteboard is basically an interactive chalkboard, so to speak. It's connected to the internet. And there's this webinar program where that teacher or our student practicing teaching stands there and sees his 25 students in a row on the left-hand side and has a PowerPoint presentation on the right. So if he's doing math or she's doing math, they can be doing the math problem and asking each student to answer the problem. And you can see specifically which students got it right and which students didn't. And then our practicing teacher can go and call on each student. And they have a little icon, the students do. They raise their little icon and our teachers can click on their icon and they have the floor, so to speak, so they can speak and they can talk. Or the teacher can put these groups of students into smaller groups. So he could say, all right, here's your next problem, but I want you to work with somebody else, and I'm going to put you in a virtual room, and then I'm going to click on your room to hear how you're doing working this problem out so I can give you just enough feedback and guidance to help you solve the problem. And so that list of students over here, he can then pair these two together, these two together, so on and so forth, and then he would click and again listen to what the students were doing and giving them the right feedback. So it's been exciting because some kids respond even better to this kind of environment than to a classroom environment, and they seem to be getting some advances in their learning. So these are the kind of things that we're doing, and we're finding that our students are really benefiting from it.
Yeah, definitely. And plus with the students, they're comfortable in their own home. Plus they have that one-on-one, it's more personal with the new technology that is being used.
That's exactly right. We get to tailor some things. So when you start to keep track while it's teaching who's getting what things wrong, you get to see trends, and then you can start to alter what you're doing in your teaching to tailor it to the specific needs of those students. So it's exciting. And the technology, as you know, is advancing in so many different ways so quickly that we want to be in on this and be leaders so that when the technology gets really great, and who knows what it's going to be like in 2, 3, 4 years, we want Slippery Rock University to be cutting edge and right there along with those advances.
Yeah, and that's great. That's something. So about your Professor Protege Program, tell me about that. What does that involve?
Well, the faculty came to me and said that having a protege is something that we like because they're working on different projects, scholarship. We have an Autism Conference that's coming up. We'll have 800 people on campus. They're putting together these conferences, and they thought, boy, if we have some talented, good students working with us, we benefit. And we think we can get the students to benefit as well. Well, I looked at the research and we surveyed students to come to Slippery Rock, and I don't know if you can guess the number one thing they say they like about Slippery Rock. It's, well, they like the tuition compared to some other schools, and they like the programs that we offer, and they like our facilities, but the number one thing is faculty attention. Oh. They like having a mentor, somebody that knows them by name, somebody that's willing to partner on a project so that they can leave Slippery Rock having gained really an in-depth experience. Yeah. So we put a committee together of faculty members, and they are right now finalizing what that application would look like so that a student could say, I like this professor, and I'm going to sit down during the office hours with this professor and say, I'd like to work with you. I see that you're putting on this Autism Conference. Do you think this is something we can partner with? And then that professor will have to agree to take the student on, fill out an application, and then we have some funding set aside that would go to pay the student wages to be involved in this. And then possibly some tools, maybe an iPad, something like that, that would help facilitate accomplishing the goals of the project. And then the students would accomplish this project, really have a great relationship with the faculty member, be able to say they were a protege. It's sort of like a fellowship program. They could say I was a fellow in this protege program. And then we'd ask them to then do a showcase presentation showing what they've learned and to take some of those skills along with them into the classroom.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is great. So, you know, with the Autism Conference coming up, what is that about? What exactly goes into that?
I've seen statistics where something like 1 in 4 students or children born today in this country are on the autism spectrum.
Oh, wow.
And it's such a huge issue.
It is.
And the Gaskin Act was an act passed not too long ago in the state of Pennsylvania, which says that students deserve to have the least restrictive environment in the classroom. In other words, if they have a special need, such as being on the autism scale, they should not be pulled out and placed in a special education classroom, but should be included within the classroom. And that our teachers should be trained to deal with these situations and all the different special education needs that are out there, and that we have support staff that come in and team with those teachers so that those students have a positive learning experience, and the students in the classroom that are there with them also have a positive experience. So this Autism Conference is pulling together research, experts, nationwide experts. Our faculty here in special education are uniquely qualified in autism, and it's one of our specialties. We offer a master's degree in autism studies and an endorsement in autism. And so this conference is focused on what can we teach each other? What's the latest about what works, and let's have conversations. We also invite public school teachers in, parents in. So anytime you're dealing with a big issue like this, you bring in the research, you bring in anecdotal evidence, stories about what works, you bring in the practitioners that are learning about what's going on in the trenches, and you have conversations. So it's going to be an exciting time. We offer this every 2 years, and so all students in the College of Education will be invited to this, and it'll be a great learning experience for them.
Yeah, definitely. And going back to the Protege program, you know, the students that will be working it, that's a great experience for them too.
That's right.
You know, to get professional experience working on a big conference like this.
Imagine trying to organize all the different details of having 800 people in a location, making sure it's advertised, making sure that the speakers are contacted, making sure that whatever stipends are required are paid out appropriately, the budgeting, you know, working on our mentor would be tremendous. And then to be there while you pull it off and having that gratification, I think it could be great.
Yeah, definitely will be. So, all right, well, that is all we have for you today. Thank you for joining us here on Meet SRU Faculty, and a huge thank you for Dr. Dils for taking the time to talk with us. Once again, I'm Alyssa Cirincione, and I'll see you next time. Have a great day. Thank you so much again for being here.
Absolutely.